Okay, good morning, students. So, in the previous class, we have seen the problems regarding to the Curie stability test. We have seen plenty number of problems. Okay. So, in case of the Curie stability test, one problem is pending for us. That means, while going into the different test group, I have seen this particular problem. That means this sort of problem is not discussed by us in the previous problem session. Okay. So with this type of problem, we will conclude the chapter 4 and we will enter into the next chapter. Okay. So coming to the statement of the problem, find the stability of the system which is shown in the figure given. So this is the diagram which is going to determine the stability by us. Okay. So it is consisting of a transfer function and a feedback path is also connected, and the feedback path is a unit feedback. So let us suppose this particular transfer function, that is 10 divided by s into s plus 1, is considered as g of s, and the feedback is nothing but a unit feedback. So that unit feedback is going to be considered as 1. That unit feedback is going to be considered as 1. So that, so that, what is the overall transfer function for this? The overall transfer function means C of z divided by R of s. C of s divided by R of s is nothing but equal to, if this one is going to be considered as G of s and feedback is going to be considered as H of s, the transfer function, that is C of s divided by R of s, can be given as G of s divided by 1 plus G of s into H of s. G of s divided by 1 plus G of s into H of s. So, in order to determine the jury stability test, we have to consider the characteristic equation. That means the characteristic equation need to be equated to 0. Need to be equated to the 0. So, in the transfer function which we have obtained, what is the denominator value? That is nothing but C of s divided by R of s is equal to G of s divided by 1 plus G of s into H of s. So the denominator factor is nothing but 1 plus g of s into h of s. So that particular equation is considered as characteristic. Is considered as characteristic equation. That means the characteristic equation is 1 plus g of s into h of s. 1 plus g of s into h of s. So here h of s value is 1. So, so the characteristic equation is nothing but 1 plus g of s is equal to 0. So, the jury stability test is going to be calculated by us when it is in Z domain. When it is in Z domain. But the given transfer function is in S domain. So, initially the S domain is going to be converted into the Z domain, and then the characteristic equation is going to be equated to 0, and we will apply the regular stability process. Stability process. Okay. So initially, let us calculate g of s. Let us calculate g of s. Why? Because the characteristic equation is nothing but 1 plus g of s is equal to 0. So initially, calculate the value of g of s. So g of s is equal to, so g of s is equal to 10 divided by s into s plus 1. G of s is equal to 10 divided by s into s plus 1. So this equation is going to be converted as per the process of the partial fraction method. As per the process of partial fraction method, 10 divided by s into s plus 1 is going to be taken as a divided by s plus b divided by s plus 1. A divided by S plus B divided by S. So upon the calculation of the partial fraction method, we have obtained the values of A and B as A equal to 10 and B equal to minus 10. That means we have equated the values of the A and B, constant values A and B, so that the values obtained after the partial fraction method as A value is equal to 10 and B value is equal to minus 10. Therefore, applying the Laplace transform for this equation, this one. Applying the Laplace transform for this equation, applying the Laplace transform for this equation, we are going to get 10 minus 10 into e power minus 10 into 10 minus 10 into e power minus 10. So this converting process of g of t to the g of z, that means with the application of the z transformation, this particular equation is going to be converted into z transform, that is g of the z is equal to 10 into z divided by z minus 1, that is step function, minus 10 into z divided by z minus e power minus 1. Therefore, the overall transfer function in terms of the z plane, that is g of s, can be taken as 10 into z, that is nothing but 10z into 1 minus e power minus 1 divided by z minus 1 into z minus e power minus 1. 10z into 1 minus e power minus 1 divided by z minus 1 into z minus e power minus 1. So the characteristic equation is nothing but 1 plus g of z is equal to 0. 1 plus g of z is equal to 0. So this is the g of z value we have obtained using the partial fraction method. That means the x domain has been converted into the z domain, and after the application of the inverse Laplace transform and the z transformation, we are going to obtain the g of z value as 10z into 1 minus e power minus 1 divided by z minus 1 into z minus e power minus 1. So in order to apply the Jury stability test, the characteristic equation needs to be taken as 1 plus g of z is equal to 1 plus g of z is equal to. Therefore, 1 plus 10z into 1 minus e power minus 1 divided by z minus 1 into z minus e power minus 1 is equal to 0. So upon certain calculations, the characteristic equation is obtained as z square plus 4.952z plus 0.368 is equal to 0. Z square plus 4.952z plus 0.368 is equal to 0. This is the characteristic equation we have obtained after the calculations. So for this particular equation, we need to determine the Jury stability test. That means we need to determine the stability of the system using the Jury stability test as well as the bilinear transformation. Whatever it is, as per your interest, you can choose any particular method, or if it asks us to determine the stability in particular method, you have to choose Jury stability test or bilinear transformation. Okay. So the characteristic equation is consisting of the order of the equation, that is the order of the transfer function or the characteristic equation is 2. So while calculating the stability using the Jury's transformation method, if the characteristic equation is, that means the order of the characteristic equation is 2, with simple observation we can estimate the stability of the system. So before estimating the stability of the system, the conditions has to be satisfied for characteristic equation. The order of the characteristic equation is 2. That means how many conditions has to be satisfied? 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1. What are the 3 conditions has to be satisfied? The first one is with the substitution of z is equal to 1 and with the substitution of z is equal to minus 1. The order of the equation is even. It is an even order equation. So the first condition has to be satisfied is d of 1 should be greater than 0, and d of minus 1 is should be also greater than 0. D of 1 should be greater than 0 and d of minus 1 should be greater than 0. And the third condition need to be satisfied is an should be less than a naught. That means the modulus of an should be less than a naught. Modulus of an should be less than a naught. Okay, so these are the three transfer function has to be these are the three conditions has to be satisfied in order to conclude the system is stable or not. Conclude the system is stable or not. Okay, so the characteristic equation is nothing but the order of the equation is 2. Therefore, how many rows are going to be obtained? 2 into n minus 1. Sorry, 2 into n minus 3. Number of rows are to be obtained. What is the value of n here? That is 2. 2 into 2 means 4. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. Only one row is going to be obtained. Only one row is going to be obtained. Okay. Before that, without any estimating or tabulating the values, we can conclude the stability of the system with simple observation test. With simple observation test. That means with the substitution of d of 1, that is z is equal to 1, we have obtained the value of d of 1 as 1 plus 4.952 plus 0.368. So all the addition value of this particular values is greater than 0. And d of minus 1 is 1 minus 4.952 plus 0.368. But this value is less than 0. Less than 0. And the third condition need to be satisfied is modulus of an should be less than a. Modulus of an should be less than a. What is the an value? It is nothing but 0.368 here. 0.368. A naught value is 1. Therefore, the third condition need to be satisfied is 0.368 less than 1. 0.368 less than 1. So, what are the three conditions? The first condition is d of 1. It is greater than 0. Therefore, the condition 1 is satisfied. And d of minus 1 is less than 0. D of minus 1 is less than 0. So, the second condition is not satisfied. And the third condition is modulus of an value should be less than a naught. And the third condition is satisfied. That means in three conditions, only two conditions are satisfied and the second condition is not satisfied. Therefore, we can conclude that the given system is a unstable system. The given system is a unstable system. Why? Because it is satisfying only the two conditions and d of minus 1 should be greater than 0, but it is less than 0. Therefore, we can conclude that the given system is a unstable system. The given system is a unstable system. Okay. So this is one method. The first method, that is the Joule stability test. What is the second method we are having for determination of the stability? That is bilinear transformation. Bilinear transformation. So while discussing about the bilinear transformation method, initially we have to convert the jet plane into the R plane. Initially we have to obtain the characteristic equation. The jet plane has to be converted into the R plane. That means we have to substitute z is equal to r plus 1 divided by r minus 1, or z is equal to 1 plus r divided by 1 minus 1 as per your requirement. Okay, so that the jet plane is going to be converted into the R plane and we are able to calculate the characteristic equation, and with the application of the RHS criteria table, we can estimate whether the system is stable or not. Whether the system is stable or not. So we will discuss about the second method, that is bilinear transformation. Bilinear transformation method. So, as I have discussed earlier, in order to determine the stability by using the bilinear transformation method, initially the jet plane has to be converted into the R plane with the substitution of the transformation function, that is z is equal to r plus 1 divided by r minus 1. So simple substitution of z is equal to r plus 1 divided by r minus 1, we can get the characteristic equation. We are supposed to get the value of characteristic equation as 6.32 into r square plus 1.264 r minus 3.584 is equal to 0. So this is the characteristic equation we have obtained in R plane. R plane. That means the value of the characteristic equation is 6.32 r square plus 1.264 r minus 3.584 is equal to 0. This is the characteristic equation we have obtained in the R plane. So after obtaining the characteristic equation, we have to tabulate the RH criteria table. So the RH criteria table is obtained as R square. The first R square row is consisting of 6.32 and minus 3.584, and R power 1 value is 1.264. And R naught row is going to be obtained with the calculation of 1.264 into minus 3.584 minus 6.32 into 0 divided by 1.264. Therefore, the value we have obtained is minus 3.584. Minus 3.584. So, with simple observation of the first row, that means the first column, not first row, with the simple observation of the first column in the RH criteria table, we can estimate whether the system is stable or not. With observation means the RH, that means the first column of the RH criteria table should consisting of the same sign for all the values. Should have to consist of the all signs, same signs for the values which is presented in the first column. Here, the first column consisting of the values of 6.32, 1.264 and minus 3.584. That means two values is having the positive sign and the third value consisting of the negative sign. Two values consisting of the positive sign and the third value consisting of negative. That means there occurs a sign change between the values. Therefore, we can conclude this particular system is an unstable system. This particular system is an unstable system. That means a sign change is occurred in the first column of the RH criteria table. Therefore, we can conclude that this particular system is an unstable system. Okay, we have estimated the stability of the system both in two methods. One is the bilinear transformation method and the second one is the Jury stability method. In case of the Jury stability measure, upon three conditions, two conditions are satisfied and one condition is not satisfied. So we can conclude that the system is unstable. And similarly, for the bilinear transformation method also, after tabulating the RH criteria table, the first column consisting of the, it is not consisting of the same sign. That means in first column, three particular values are there, two particular values are having the positive sign and one particular value is having the negative sign. So we can conclude this particular system is a unstable system. This particular system is a unstable system. So in this way we are going to determine the stability of a system. That means this kind of problems is also asked for your university examinations, and this kind of problems can be asked for 10 marks or 14 marks. That means initially we have to determine the transfer function of the system, and after that we have to determine the stability of the system. So two different steps has to be conducted by you. So this particular question can be asked for 10 marks or even for the 14 marks. Okay, so these kind of questions we can expect. We can expect these kind of questions also in our university examination. So for this purpose, I am going to explain this particular topic. Okay, so with this, the fourth unit is totally completed. That means unit 4, stability criteria, is totally completed. Now we are entering into the next unit. That means we are entering into the unit 6, not unit 5. After the completion of the unit 6, we will discuss the unit 5. After the completion of the unit 6, we will go for the unit 5. Okay. So, yeah. And the title of the unit 6 is State Feedback Controllers. State Feedback Controllers. And it is also a simple unit. It is also a small and simple unit which is consisting of two particular concepts only. Two particular concepts only. That means the first topic is state feedback controller design. State feedback controller design using the pole placement technique. And the one is second topic is Ackermann's formula. Ackermann's formula. Ackermann's formula. That means using the Ackermann's formula, we have to estimate the state feedback gain matrix. State feedback gain matrix. The first topic is state feedback controller through pole placement technique. And the second topic is Ackermann's formula. It is a small unit and very simple unit. It is a small unit and very simple unit. So for that sake, I have chosen the unit 6 apart from the unit 5. After the unit 6, we will enter into the unit 5. Okay. So it is a small unit and it is a very simple unit. You can get a problem and theory question also. You can expect one problem and one theory question regarding this unit. If two problems are going to be obtained, you are a lucky person. No problem. Why? Because for problems you will get full marks. For problem you will get full marks. So no need to worry about the topics and worry about the marks. Okay, it is very simple unit. So without any delay, we will enter into this one. Initially, we will discuss about a small topic for this class, so that we will discuss the remaining topics in the next class itself. Okay. So the unit 6 is a state feedback controller. The title of the unit 6 is state feedback controller. The first topic is control system design using pole placement technique for state feedback method. State feedback. Okay. Design of the state feedback controller using pole placement. The first topic is design of the state feedback controller using pole placement. First topic. So, in any control system, control system, the main criteria has to be satisfied is stability. The main criteria has to be satisfied is stability. Okay, that stability is going to be obtained with feedback or without feedback. Two particular constants are going to be there in order to determine the stability of the system. That means with the involvement of the feedback, one stability is going to be obtained, and without the involvement of the feedback, we are going to obtain the another stability. Okay. So in control systems, by the pole placement technique or the pole assignment technique, the state variables are going to be used as a feedback. That means state variables means the matrices A, B, C, and D. What are the state equations we are having? X dot is equal to A into X of t plus B into U of t, and C of t is equal to, that is nothing but Y of t is equal to C into X of t plus D into U of t. These are the state equations we are having. So what are the state variables? The state variables are nothing but a matrix A, B, C, and D. So, in these control systems, that means in control systems design procedure by the pole placement technique or the pole alignment technique, the state variables are going to be chosen as a feedback path. The state variables are chosen as a feedback path in order to achieve the closed loop path. In order to achieve the closed loop codes. So the main advantage regarding this particular closed loop poles means with the estimation of the state feedback gain matrix K, we can estimate the state feedback controller. The state feedback controller. That means with the help of the closed loop poles, we can determine the state feedback gain matrix so that it is very convenient for us to design the state feedback controller. The state feedback controller. So the necessary and sufficient conditions to be satisfied for a system to be arbitrary, that means in order to estimate the closed loop path, the necessary and sufficient condition has to be satisfied by a system with pole placement technique is that particular system should be completely state controllable. State controllable. Okay. So before that, once again, I am going to explain. In case of the control system design, using the pole placement technique or the pole assignment technique, the state variables, that means the ABCD matrices, are used as a feedback path. The main advantage of this particular choosing of state variables is to estimate, to design the state feedback control. So in order to estimate or design the state feedback controller, initially you have to determine the state feedback gain matrix. In order to design a state feedback controller, initially you have to design or estimate the state feedback gain matrix. That matrix is supposed to be as K. In order to design a state feedback controller, initially you have to determine the state feedback gain matrix, that is supposed to be capital K. The necessary and sufficient conditions to determine the state feedback gain matrix K is that particular system should be completely controllable. That means in order to estimate the state feedback gain matrix, initially that particular system should satisfy the conditions of a controllability. The conditions of the controllability. That means we have to determine the controllability, and after that only we are able to determine the state feedback gain matrix. And gain matrix, the state feedback gain matrix is supposed to be capital K. Capital K. So for estimating or determining the state feedback gain matrix, we are having the three particular methods. The three particular methods, the Ackermann's formula. The Ackermann's formula is one of the three methods which is used for estimating the state feedback gain matrix. Okay. So before entering the three methods, let me discuss let me recollect all the topics regarding the state space equations. So let us consider the nth order single input and single output system with and without feedback, without state variable feedback. So this is the particular system which is going to be representing a controllable system without state feedback. And this particular block diagram is going to be represent as STA feedback, sorry, a system, controllable system with a state feedback, controllable system with a state variable feedback, state variable feedback. So this integral part is nothing but taken as z power minus 1. This integral part is going to be taken as z power minus 1. So the first block is going to be represent as a controllable system without state feedback. And this is the block diagram which is going to be representing a controllable system with state variable feedback. With state variable feedback. In this one, that's capital R. Let us suppose the capital R as the system input, and state variable feedback is employed. State feedback here, the state variable feedback is employed, and sigma is going to be taken as the feedback signal. Sigma is going to be taken as the feedback signal, and U is nothing but the plant input, and U is nothing but the plant input. We have considered the three particular values. Small r as state system input with state variable feedback is employed, and sigma is nothing but feedback signal, and small u is nothing but the plant input. Plant input. Therefore, sigma can be taken as k into x. K into x. That means k is nothing but the feedback value which are obtained, and x is nothing but the input. X is nothing but the input. Therefore, the feedback signal sigma is going to be taken as k into x. K into x, where k is nothing but the state feedback gain matrix, which is of the order 1 by n. That means we are consisting of only one column, sorry, one row and n columns. One row and n columns. Therefore, K is supposed to be a state feedback gain matrix which is consisting of values K1, K2, K3 and so on up to Kn. That means the order of the matrix is 1 by n, one row and n columns. One row and n columns. So the plant input here, plant input is nothing but U. This plant input can be taken as R minus Kx. This plant input can be taken as plant input U can be taken as R minus sigma. R minus sigma. What is sigma here? The sigma value is Kx. The sigma value is Kx. Therefore, plant input U is nothing but supposed to be R minus Kx. R minus Kx. This particular equation is called as a control law. This particular equation is called as a control law. R minus Kx. R minus Kx. Therefore, the state equations we are going to be obtained as here. This is the state equations we are having. What are the state equations? That is x dot is equal to a into x plus b into u, and y is equal to c into x. So the u we have obtained is the control we have obtained as u is equal to r minus k into x. So just substituting this value of u in the state variable equation, first equation, that is x dot is equal to ax plus bu. Therefore, ax plus b into r minus kx. So after calculations, we are going to get the state equation, first state equation as x dot is equal to a minus b k into x plus b. A minus bk into x plus a minus bk into x plus br. Therefore, the state equations, the modified state equations with the involvement of the state variable feedback is the modified state equations with the involvement of the state variable feedback is x dot is equal to a minus bk into x plus br and y is equal to cx, where k is nothing but the state variable feedback gain matrix, which is consisting of the values of k1, k2, k3 and so on up to kn. So on up to k. Okay. So these are the state equations, that means the modified state equations which are obtained with the involvement of the state variable feedback gain. That means with the involvement of the state variable feedback matrices, that is A, B, C and D as a feedback, the modified state equations are going to be obtained as x dot is equal to A minus Bk into x plus Br and y is equal to Cx, where K is nothing but called as the state variable feedback gain matrix or feedback gain matrix, state feedback gain matrix. We can suppose that K is nothing but called as state feedback gain matrix. So in order to design a state feedback controller, initially you have to determine the state feedback control gain matrix. In order to design a state feedback controller, initially you have to determine the state feedback gain matrix. Okay, so for that one, the state equations we are going to be having as x dot is equal to a minus bk into x plus br and y is equal to cx, where k is nothing but called as the state variable feedback gain matrix, which is consisting of values k1 to kn. That means the order of the matrix is 1 by n. Only one row and n columns are going to be present. Okay, so in order to determine the state feedback gain matrix capital K, we are having the three particular methods. We are having three particular methods. Okay, so we will discuss that particular three methods in the next class tomorrow, so that we are able to have a basic concept for determination of the state feedback gain matrix. Okay, so we will discuss the particular three methods which are used for calculation of capital K in the next class. Okay, so with this I am to wind up the class for today. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.